Sweet. So welcome back, everybody. This is the second week back for the mindcation team here, coming at you live from this live stream from Zoom, brought to you by Zoom University. This week, we're trying to hit back on kind of what we've learned so far, our experience during this whole quarantine, what it taught us, how things have been so far. Not just for ourselves, but kind of in our circles, and then from what we've seen afar, and then what, everything's basically opening back up here in the country. So kind of what that might look like going forward and stuff. And we hit that on a little bit last episode, but we kind of just wanted to dive in a little bit further in this episode. So first and foremost, though, how's everybody doing?
Pretty good. A little tired.
Yeah. Did a bunch of yard work this morning, trying to make that change any way I can.
That bread. Get that bread.
Yeah. Other than that, I've just been chilling, trying to learn as much as I can, keeping up with lifting, thankfully. Reading. It's important.
Yeah, that's only me and you. I think those other guys are slacking.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm in classes. I've been doing schoolwork.
Oh, you taking summer class? I didn't know you were taking summer
Yo.
class.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, probably a smart idea for you guys to try and take summer classes now, since they're all going to be like online. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Super true.
There's only one that I could have taken, and I ended up not doing it. Like chem is the only class I could have taken in the summer. All the rest of them weren't offered.
You can take it with me.
I still can, but I ain't got that money.
Yeah.
I'm
That
trying to pay
last
out of pocket for
5
it.
weeks. Except, no, they're doing it weird now because do you have to take the lab?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
it'll be
Then,
just
because I have to take the lab too, and they don't. They're not going to allow us to take the lab this summer, and so then we have to take it during the school year of this upcoming fall.
That's a mistake, dude.
Yeah.
But at least you get the class out of the way.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, lab's a joke, anyways. You know how those chem labs are.
Oh yeah. Well, their TA ran, and half the times the TAs don't know what they're doing.
Exactly.
But if you have a good TA, life-changing, dude.
I mean, from what Noah's experiences from TA, from the rec, I just didn't hear a lot of good reviews from Noah.
Like what?
His first week of weight training too,
yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah.
That's true. My weight training 2 TA. Honestly, my weight training 1 TA and 2 TA. Trash.
You're not talking about the instructor himself, but the assistants to the instructor.
Just everybody.
No. The student teacher that I had.
The student instructor that you had. I understand. Okay.
Honestly, you're just lucky that you had a star pupil like myself in the class. I got 103 in that class.
Yeah, that's fair.
What can I say?
Fair enough. For those what's up?
Does your scholarship not cover summer classes?
No.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
That's why I was wondering when you said the whole pay out of pocket for it.
Nope, but they don't. And then so this will be my last semester, but I exhausted my scholarship already. Covers 5 years. But I'm still Pell Grant eligible, so I'll still get that money. So that'll pay for my last semester. So that I should be all right.
Yeah, that's a good one to get.
It's got to be poor.
UNL froze their tuition for the next 2 years. On another note, talking about tuition prices.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Much respect
And
to
so that just means that tuition prices aren't going to change, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up or down.
locked into place.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they'd ever go
nice.
down.
For those of you who are just listening to us, you won't really get why I'm asking this, but for those of you that may be watching this on the YouTube, I think we have to kind of talk about the elephant in the room over here. And Isaac's made some interesting hair choices as of late, and so we want him to explain what exactly is going on.
Yep. So for everybody on YouTube, we're going to get a little close up here. So this beard, 2.5 weeks.
That just looks like a shadow.
Beard.
that beard, 2.5 weeks.
And
The terminal hairs,
Can you
Isaac.
reserve the comments till after the story is over. Okay.
again, for those that are just listening, I got probably 90% of my beard cut off this weekend, and I still have more facial hair.
You still
than
have
Isaac does.
1,000 times more.
But this
Like
is
way more.
that I need to do.
Isaac has got like a few pubes like growing out. You know, like that's kind of what it looks like.
Terminal hairs.
I think they're more sturdy than pubes, but it's kind of it's up to decision. If you want to compare them sometime, I'll let you take years. But yeah. So I mean, the hair. I mean, I just haven't cut it, and wearing a hat sucks because it gives me a headache for some weird reason. Whenever I wear hats for too long, it gives me a headache, and like gel or the paste that I use just wasn't working or keeping it up. And then it like tickles my forehead, and I hate it when it tickles my forehead, dude. So I just like tied it up, and then I kind of fucked up the tie in the middle, so it like split it at the top. So now it looks like a little Y. But like I don't know, I just said fuck it, man. It's just
You just look like you're like you look like Sokka from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
There we go. I should have led with that, honestly.
Too late now.
Because that is way too in right now, but rightfully so. I'm happy.
Yeah, well,
it's one of the best TV series, animated TV.
Oh yeah,
no, for sure.
I already binged all of it on Netflix. I've seen it before, but I already watched all of it again. Yeah, like you were saying, like with the headaches, hats will give me headaches sometimes too, but I also get like those cluster headaches or whatever that. I don't know if you guys
just like sporadically, random.
Yeah.
Time.
Well, they're weird. So they're like migraines.
No, so pretty intense.
Yeah, they're really intense headaches, but they're like, it's weird. Like I'll go like 2 or 3 months and I won't get any of them, and then I'll go like 2 months where I get them like 4 or 5 times a week, and it's like a migraine. It's not like an all day headache, which is nice, but like usually my head starts feeling weird, and I kind of like. I think even if I put my finger on my temple, it's like throbbing, and then I'll have a headache for like 45 minutes to like 2 hours. It's like one of those headaches that like you can't do anything about it. Like you have to just like lay there until it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
is it? Do you
I don't know.
It's pretty like cyclical? Like it happens around the same time every year?
It's not the same time every year, but they call them like alarm clock headaches because when you're like in a cycle where you're getting them, you'll get them at like the same time of day. So like I had one yesterday, I guess, but I'm kind of like coming off of a pretty like shitty cycle where I was getting them like 2 of them a day. It seemed like I was getting like, and so I would get one like anywhere from like 10 a.m. to like 11. It was like every day. It was either 10 a.m. to 11. I'd start getting the headache, go away, and then I'd get like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. It'd come back. So.
Damn.
It's weird. And then it's also weird because they don't know what like causes them. Like supposedly they're not a symptom of any like underlying conditions. Because like when I first started having them, I was like, I have a tumor in my head, I'm gonna die. You know, like you think the worst like that.
Yeah, for me, yeah.
Yeah, they're not like an underlying symptom or condition of anything else. They're just kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's some shit.
There's your Noah's medical update for the day.
Fuck yeah.
But pink raspberry lemonade helps. So
that's a fact, dude. I've been going ham on
of things.
I've been fucking with lots of tea, man.
Tea instead of coffee.
Yeah, I'll still have coffee like in the morning sometimes, but I've been trying to distance myself from caffeine because the only time I would ever use it now is to stay up late playing video games or to go to the gym. Like if I just like wake up early for the gym or it's a big lifting day and I just need a little extra, you know. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, so.
I drink like 2.5 cups of coffee every single morning. So
there you go. It's a great start to the day, though. It's something.
Yeah.
And like,
because like,
raining.
I'm pretty sure I've told all you guys this, that I have like a method of coffee. Like I just don't put it in like a Keurig and stuff like that. Like I get whole beans, so I grind my beans.
Mm-hmm.
I have
like a French press.
Yeah. No, I have a hand grinder now. So now I grind them by hand. and then I put it in my Chemex, and then I let it simmer, and I heat up the water, and it just looks very aesthetic and very beautiful, and it just kind of wakes me up.
It's
And
so
then I
much
drink
work.
it. Yeah, but it's like
You
that
you hand grind your beans?
Yeah, they have hand grinders.
No, like with your hands. I heard it's like the best forearm workout. Is that true?
What?
You take the beans in your hands and grind them.
Crushing
No.
yourself.
No.
You don't do that? Oh, I heard it was a
No.
forearm workout. My bad, dude.
I guess you don't want your grip strength to be that strong.
No.
Yeah, I guess not. I mean,
I'm not a power lifter.
it's not relative.
So yeah, I actually have a really similar morning routine when it comes to coffee. I usually just go to Scooters.
Ooh, what'd you get from Scooters?
Usually just like a normal coffee with cream and sugar, or if you're feeling, get some sort of like vanilla latte if you're feeling bougie about it.
See, with me, I have like 3 different kinds of beans that I use, so I can switch it up.
Where do you get your beans from, bro?
All different kinds of places. So you can always go to the mill, except they don't have very good beans. They don't have good beans. Their beans are trash.
Bad beans.
Yeah, straight up. Like, they're probably one of the worst coffee beans I've got.
That's where my grandpa gets his coffee from, and he makes like the cold nitro brew coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but the shit that he makes with that is dummy strong, but it's so good.
I like to go to the coffee roaster. I think they probably have one of my favorite beans. They're closed now, though. Well, they're not closed, but they have like online pickup. I don't know. It's weird. And so recently I've been going to Trader Joe's, and they actually have some good like brand name beans that you can get. You can get them grinded up if you want to, but they're pretty good. I don't know.
I don't know if they sell whole beans. I know they sell like coffee grounds, but have you ever tried like the Black Rifle coffee?
Oh yeah, I've heard of them, but I've never tried them. No.
So they actually make most of their stuff's really strong too. They make really good coffee though.
Is that the one that's got like it's a protein coffee, right?
No. I think it's owned by. They might have a brand. They might have like a line like that, but it's owned by like former vet or like they're by veterans. Mm-hmm. So it has like American, a bunch of Black Rifle coffee company. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's pretty good. And then they have like a subscription service where they'll like just send you they'll just send you like a bag every 2 weeks or whatever.
Super nice.
Yep.
That is really cool.
There's your daily coffee talk. You're on a mindcation.
Yeah. Coffee.
All right, favorite like brand, or not brand, but like kind of coffee. The best coffee black I've ever had was called Jamaican Me Crazy. It's from a gas station.
Like, are you talking about like a bean, like your favorite bean, or like
like you know what what do you call those? Like the name of the bean. Yeah.
Like you can get Sumatra, Ethiopian.
There's so many. I'm just asking for your favorite.
Yeah, I think I have Ethiopian right now. That's the one I really like. Just kind of a general.
Because there's a lot of different vibes. I know the Mills really opened up my taste palette towards different types of black coffee.
Yeah.
Because, they have
when the coffee roaster opens, I'll take you there.
Bet, dude.
They got even more, and they get like new shipments in every other week, which is super nice.
That's sweet. I like transport like that.
I think coffee's kind of like craft beer. Like I don't drink coffee all that often, so I don't. I mean, like you can like tell it tastes different, but I can't really, I can't really distinguish between like Ethiopian and like
Sumatra
other stuff. But it's like or like wine, like craft beer or wine. Like the more you drink it, and like the more you like learn about it, like you start to taste differences.
Oh yeah.
Differences is I just like alcohol, so. So craft beer and wine is right up my alley.
There you go.
You always got to read the description, and then like when it says, like this is what it has in it, or this is what it should taste like, and then you read it, and then you start to try to figure out like, okay, I guess it does kind of taste like that. Like I had a coffee that had like, I think blueberries or something like that, and I was like, there's no fucking way. But then once I started thinking about it, I was like, oh yeah, a little bit.
Right. Yep.
Well, now that you guys aren't little children anymore, we can. Brock, you're 21, right?
I'm 22, bro.
That's what I thought. I was making sure. I didn't want to. I was like 99% sure, and I was like, maybe he's just little baby. But
Isaac's the young
yeah,
one.
Yeah, I'm the young.
Isaac's the younger. You guys can
Well, like a whole
accompany
year.
me. You can accompany me and Irv to Hopcat once it opens up. Get you guys' craft beer palette going.
Yo, there's some new places. So I helped my mom this morning with a bunch of lawn shit, and then we went to Campbell's Nursery, the South Campbell's Nursery, to get her some fucking
Are you
plants.
talking about the zip line one?
Yeah, so there's like two like craft beer places, and they have like restaurants behind Campbell's that I looked at, and I've never eaten there before, but they looked really fucking good. One of them's name was Local, and the other one
Ooh.
I can't remember the name of.
No, the locals hooked up. The locals really good. The locals really good. But no, the other one's hooked up to the sushi place that's down in the Haymarket.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember but they looked really good. Like the outside of the building looked really good. So
They have trivia nights on Wednesday. I
yeah,
lost last time.
Sounds like if any of these places are open, we should take like a little field trip this week and go have some beer.
Oh yeah,
good.
I'm pretty sure they have zip line. I think they just
There's
have
one by campus, isn't there?
a zip line.
Yeah.
There's actually a ton of breweries all over Atlanta.
Yeah. The broiler room.
Boiler room.
Boiler
I think
room.
that-
Yeah, super good.
There was one that was by campus. I'm pretty sure that closed down like right before, like it closed, but even before like the quarantine thing, it just went out of business. But
There was a big one on Highway 2 by like Dead Man's Cave.
yeah,
And that one shut down because they couldn't like pay rent or something, or like there was some argument with the landlord or property owner. I don't even know, but they had to shut up shop. You could like go down in their breweries and like go tour the cave. That was like the cave, but there was like a bunch of
Like the cave. That was the.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like I'm pretty sure it's called Dead Man's Cave, but I might be talking on my ass because I think it's called something else now. So I was like,
maybe Dead Man's Cavern, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. That's a good segue into our topic today, though, Irv.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of laid it out already at the beginning of the episode, but let's start with, with everything opening back up, and it seems like we're gonna start bouncing back, and everything's gonna slowly progress back into what our new normal is gonna be. What have you feel like you've learned, either about yourself or about the people around you so far in quarantine, like how people react or stuff like that?
Absolutely. So what I kind of noticed about myself, at least, is like the first like 2-3 weeks of quarantine, or probably even closer, like a month, dude, I didn't do jack shit, man. Like I did hardly any schoolwork. I didn't do like any work. Like, fuck. I just like slept, played video games. Like, I mean, I did other like bullshit helping stuff around the house, like just keeping stuff clean and stuff. But other than that, and like helping watch the kids around the house and just kind of like hanging out, like I just didn't do anything very constructive, which was kind of nice.
For all you single ladies out there looking, Isaac, those are not Isaac's kids that he's helping to look after.
Yeah, I live with 2 kids under the age of 2. They're both amazing.
Heard they're real shitty roommates.
They're what?
Heard they're real shitty roommates.
Yeah, but yeah, so I don't know. I kind of learned that like the first month, I just really needed a break, I think. And then after that, I started getting bored as hell. Video games just, I don't know. I just needed to start doing stuff, So I started making more money, doing more small jobs, and then, just needed the inner motivation side of me was just kind of itching to do something constructive towards my goal in my career. So and things are going very well now, which is awesome.
No, I think for me, I was the same way, super lazy, really didn't want to do much when this happened. But then once summer courses started, it kind of kicked me out of my route because it was like Zoom calls, lots of just reading because it's like 8-week summer course. And so it's just like you get behind, you're screwed. So that kind of got me more motivated. Lifting and gym wise, I've been just trying different like things. I have a bench and squat, which I'm super lucky about, but I don't have like anything else really. So I've been just like trying to do more mobility, unilateral stuff, just things that I'm not good at. Handstand push-ups, just stuff like that kind of just test my mental a little bit more. Been doing a little bit more running. My treadmill broke when it was raining out when I was running on it, so that's fun. But yeah.
Were you running on your treadmill
outside?
No, I didn't break it, but now it's broken because when we went through like this week. No, the last week it was raining, and so I was running on the treadmill. Okay. And then the next day I get on the treadmill and it doesn't work, and I'm just like, damn.
So you blamed it on the rain
all the time. No,
my
treadmill's broken. So now
and then all of a sudden, it's gonna say David Goggins has joined the chat. Like, really?
Yeah.
Scared by a little rain? Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Starts ripping.
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think quarantine, like especially like for a lot of people, but like for us, I know like that first week of classes that got canceled was like right before spring break. So like we were kind of in a place like school wise where I think everybody needed a break anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it coincided with needing a break, and so everyone just kind of shut down for a while.
It was kind of like a mandatory break for those who don't ever take breaks, you know?
Right, yeah. And so I think it's one of those things where people probably didn't realize how like run down and worn out they were. Like that was kind of me, because like that those like, because think about it, we went 2 weeks with nothing to do because class got canceled, then we had spring break. I know I just didn't do anything. I mean, I think I worked out, but other than that, I just was, like you said, playing video games going around.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I think kind of similar to what you guys said. I think kind of figured out that I'm more of a routine type person, and once I kind of get into that routine and get into a group, things are a lot easier. Because I didn't take a ton of online classes through college, and if I ever did, I took like one a semester, and so it was like weird getting into the rhythm of doing everything online and like being totally accountable for it. Because like, you know, it's easy to stay accountable when you're like, all right, well, I just gotta get up and go to class. But when you are just at home and you're like, I have a bunch of assignments I should be doing. So yeah, that, and then I don't know, workouts probably like the most gains like weight and strength wise I've had, you know, in the last 3 years came this, you know, in the last 2 months. So not much to complain about.
Mm-hmm.
I can consistently bench over 225 now, so that's important.
Oh.
It's a big milestone, for real.
Yeah, 315 next.
Claps in the chat.
Hey, keep it at 275 next. I go up by quarters, dude.
275?
275 looks cool.
Yeah, honestly, knowing how slow my bench progresses, I'll probably keep it at like 10. So like 245 is my next goal.
Yeah. Hey.
So checking a year and a half from now when I get my first ever shaky rep at 245.
Checking out the next quarantine, see how that goes.
Yep.
Yeah.
The next quarantine, in fall. Shit,
I think for me, like I've noticed how much more productive I can be when there's so many less distractions in my life. I feel like I used people and what I thought were things that I had to go to as excuses for me to not be productive.
Mm-hmm.
And then when those were kind of out of the question, I realized, oh, well, I can actually get a lot more done. So I've come to enjoy being in isolation a lot more than probably most people. Like I got really comfortable at just being by myself and getting to work, which I think is a good thing for me. Like it kind of developed a kind of mindset and like a skill that I know that I can go to. Like I'm not as afraid to like, oh, what if I don't have anybody to do this with or something like that. Like being more comfortable with just being alone was nice. Because besides like with Selma and myself, like I have not interacted with anybody else other than going to the grocery store or something like that, right? Like I've not hung out with anybody. I've not, gone to see anybody else. Haven't allowed anybody else in the house, type of thing. So it's really just been like as isolated as possible, and yeah, just kind of learn to be comfortable being in that setting. Because
Yeah, I agree.
as we've seen, like a lot of people got hella bored, and that's kind of why everything's opening back up because everyone's like, "Fuck it, like we're done with this. We're gonna open stuff back up." Because in many other countries, like most other countries, aren't opening up the way we are.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's kind of weird because it's like,
Isn't it kind of like state by state too? I feel like
it just seems like it just seems very like prototypical, like American in like a bad way in the way they were going about it, in the sense that like people got so bored and like the media is so oversaturated with like stuff about coronavirus that like we just kind of were like, this is so serious, so serious, so serious, and then we're just kind of like, now it's like, all right, now let's start opening things up, and we're kind of ignoring the fact that like we hit 100,000 deaths in the U.S. yesterday, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it's gotten better. Like we flattened the curve like we expected to. Like we knew like the goal wasn't to completely stop the virus because that was gonna be impossible to flatten the curve. But it's like people are just kind of overlooking the fact that like this is still like a very serious thing. It's not like the virus is gone, and so it just seems expedited. But I agree with you, Herb. Like I'm pretty good in like self isolation. Like I'm with my family, so I'm not going crazy. And then I have like one close friend that I work out with that I hang out. I see him every day just because we've been working out together. And other than that, like I don't require a ton of social stuff to remain sane, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just I don't know. Like with Memorial Weekend just being this past weekend, right? There were a lot of big get-togethers. There were a lot of big lakes and stuff like that that got pretty hectic, as you could see. Kind of blew up on social media and stuff, and now it's just like good for those people. If that's what you want to do, cool. But I don't know how. Like I couldn't flip that switch and just be like, oh, we were just in total isolation. I'm gonna go immerse myself in hundreds of people all of a sudden, type of thing. I thought that was pretty
Right.
That and the
pretty
riots,
crazy.
Target run. Do you see that?
You
I
said
didn't.
the riots.
I
and the
saw
Target
like the
run?
riots and stuff.
Yep. And there was a Target run today. Somebody, like a crowd of people, like broke into a Target and just started taking everything, dude. And then by the time like anybody could do anything, like everything was gone. Like people just kept running into this Target, taking shit, and then running out. I
Just
saw it on
looting, huh?
Facebook. It happened like yesterday, I think.
That's crazy.
Yep.
See, that's what makes this so much worse too, is people doing like that stuff.
Yep.
I mean,
not to mention the super big news that happened, 2 days ago, of the killing of that Gregory.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Super insane. Been trying to follow that whole thing very closely, but
yeah, and it's just weird because like it's a very like justified protest and demonstration, and obviously
everybody's on the same side. I feel like and it's just like there's
it's
no
a lot less divisive than it seems like it's been in the past. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, and you can't spin that video in the cops' favor at all. Like,
I don't know, dude. You read some comments. There's still people that are siding with the cops.
Really?
For sure.
Yeah.
That's whack. Because there's no way, even in any of the stories I've read from any of the news networks, that like the cops were in the right. Like they were not.
No.
They weren't even taught that with the knee on the neck. Like they were. Right. That was not something. But that guy, apparently, they like released his name and badge number, but he's been in trouble with like Native Americans in Alaska when he was stationed. Like he had multiple like assault charges on them that were unnecessary and like.
Well, and the picture came out with him, and he had a hat on that said like "Make America White Again." Like.
I didn't hear that.
Total shit person, yeah. And it sucks because like, in terms of like police departments and like higher ups, like they have to do everything they can to protect like their law enforcement officers. So there's like, there's like that due process of like, of okay, what happened in the situation, like, usually like the process is they get placed on administrative leave and then they review everything. And it's like that's understandable, but they're in a rock and a hard place because like that guy should be going to jail, like.
Yeah.
And it just sucks because for 90% of police officers who do their job correctly, or even if they're not great cops, 90% of cops aren't racist murderers. It makes their job 10 times harder because now there's just distrust from the public, and like they don't know. And say there's a situation that required them to take serious force that led to someone dying, and in that case it was justified. Like they don't know. Everyone's going to be hesitant to do their job now, And so it's because you have these. I don't even like to say bad eggs because it's like there's been so many cases where this happens and then there isn't fair repercussions towards the people that do it, towards these cops that do it. And it creates a problem and now officers are put in places where it's like the guy that his partner just sat there and watched him do it. And so now other cops are going to be like, now you should be, but you're required to be responsible for the actions of the person you're working with. And so now there's just like going to be a ton of second guessing and that type of stuff. So it's horrible. It's a horrible situation.
Yeah, I saw a really good post that I shared out on Facebook. That was from a LPD officer who like just went off about pretty much the same thing that you said. Like, yeah, there's a lot of like can be bad blood that is in like the policing system, but I mean, they don't need to be put under that blanket of being racist people. But I've met very, very awesome cops, but
Yeah. Well, in the USC, that the University of Minnesota like cut
ties with them, basically
cut every tie that like, obviously you have to maintain some for certain things, like as far as if there's like a homicide on campus or something like that, you have to maintain ties, but like they're not using is it Minneapolis PD? They're not using Minneapolis PD for like any of their sporting events. They're not going to be patrolling campus. They're not going to be doing it. Like they totally cut ties with them because of it.
That's a huge for that police department, though, probably.
Yeah, and it's honestly, it's nice to see like an institution see something wrong happen and actually take a step to like do something about it. Yeah.
Very quickly.
Which I hope is like a step in a positive direction of, because the thing I hate the most that happens with stuff like this is you see all these keyboard warriors that get out there and they just blow up your feed with all this stuff about how terrible society is. And it's like, you're not wrong, but you're not part of the solution if all you do is say we need to do something about this and you post about it and you don't do shit about it. Like,
and that's the extent of your action. I just hate that.
Right. So it's like they feel great and they feel like fulfilled being like, I am on the right side of this argument and I want everyone to know it, and then they just don't do anything about it. Like, I'd rather you not say shit and actually go do something about it.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, especially like with the riots, right? Like people were protesting and like, again, what you see on the media or social media or whatever, you don't know what actually is going down because, we have such a distrust for what's real and what's not. But, you see the riots or at least the protest of, they want justice for this case, right? And then you see the way the police, or at least it's shown the way the police handle these type of protests, right? When it's where it's more of a racial tension compared to how they handled some of like what we've seen with the white protests that were earlier about opening stuff back up, right? Where you see policemen getting pushed by these white protesters and nothing happens to them, right? It's just kind of like a whatever type of thing. So I know that causes a lot of issues as well. I mean, I see that and I'm just like, yeah, I mean, that's how we get treated, right? Like if you're white and you want to protest, it's a protest. If you're anything else and you want to protest, it's a riot type of thing.
Yeah. It's a hard, it's always for me just kind of a hard comparison to wrap my mind around. Like right now, like the comparison is like the treatment of the protesters in Minneapolis versus like the treatment of the, you know, people are calling them like an armed militia that went into like the Michigan courthouse. And it's hard to like compare because it's like both of the actions that happened are legal. Like it's you know, like them going into the courthouse armed, they're not concealing their weapons, like is constitutionally legal, you know, as written into the Constitution. And then it just like, you know, obviously there was the confrontation in Michigan, but there was, you know, it didn't erupt into anything. And I just struggle to compare it. I don't know. I understand the comparison. It's like, but like it's two different places. You know what I mean? Like it'd be one thing to me if like the Minneapolis PD reacted to that in that manner, and then turned around and started tear gassing protesters. You know what I mean? And I think it's just like that is kind of where like the leap of that comparison is for me, where it's like, you know, that's two different states, two different locations, two different situations that were handled differently. Yeah, I mean, obviously the Minneapolis PD hasn't handled anything in any sort of manner that they should have in like the last 48 hours. But yeah, it's kind of hard to judge everything under one umbrella, especially since like everything in the U.S. is like decentralized. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a shitty situation overall.
Sure.
Yeah, I think just overall, I don't know. It's hard as me being a person of color, it's hard for me to see this as fair, right? Like I know it's not fair, right? Like white people, as I can see it, I can see all these protests going on. It's like, you know, with people having signs. Like I saw the one here in Lincoln, right? Like they were outside of our Capitol building here with signs saying we need haircuts, let's open everything back up, type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to see that and not get mad because I know it seems like they are taking more seriously than when people like me protest about kids still being in cages in Texas, right? Or about when people protest about how Flint still doesn't have clean water, and yet, you know, people are protesting we need a haircut, type of thing.
Right.
And then
like,
shit gets done pretty quickly about it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like I've seen like some people bring up like the fact like, you know, everybody got a stimulus check, right, type of thing. And it's like one thing that shows me is that we had enough money to fix Flint, right? But we just chose not to.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's hard. It kind of shows you. It shows again. It talks about like kind of goes back to like the talk versus action. You know, when it comes to something that directly affects you, people are so ready to, you know, like people are protesting to reopen because they're being directly affected by everything being closed down.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to something like you said, like Flint or the kids, you know, people being imprisoned at the border in Texas, it's like, well, that doesn't directly impact me, so I'm going to put a post on Facebook about it. You know what I mean? And you know, if it is the case, which it seems to be, that like white protesters are typically treated with more respect and more fairness, you know, then that should be seen as a positive in the sense that like us included, should be mobilizing even for stuff that doesn't directly affect us. You know what I mean? Imagine if there were protests around the country, and I'm not even saying it would fix it, because I'm sure there, you know, like I'm not fully up to date on all the protests. You know, there's so much shit that goes on, but just a nationwide anti, you know, the ending of DACA and the imprisonment down in Texas, in every state capital in the U.S. that was like multicolored led, you know what I mean? Like multicultural. It wasn't like, you know, like the first group comes to mind is like Black Lives Matter, but there's so many other groups that just seem like they're so like kind of pigeonholed into a culture that are necessary. But it's like if we can get this to be like about like an us type thing where there's people of every background, race, culture together, then it seems like the respect that we're talking about that white protesters should be put to good use at least. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And just to note what I was talking about earlier about the Target raids, they happened in Minneapolis about 14 hours ago. I found the YouTube video, but yeah. It's just literally a bunch of people running inside and taking a bunch of shit and then running out.
It's bad people taking advantage of a bad situation.
Yeah, it easily over 60 people you can see inside the store and then running in and out of the store. But bonus, some of them have masks, dude. I'm just kidding. They're still pretty poor people for having to go in there and steal all that shit. But you know, people will take advantage of weaknesses. Yep, and to go back to that, like, staying in order, too, I had one of the fitness guys that I like to follow from California who was very adamant about his opinion of releasing everybody and lifting the stay-at-home orders in California. And that's fine. Like, I don't care if you think that, but, like, that's all he posted about for weeks. And then, like, people would DM him very pleasantly, just being like, hey, like, COVID's, like, a real thing. Like, do you really think we should open this soon? Like, I understand that people are dying of depression at home and, like, have a bunch of, like, different problems that are going to be only increased by making people stay home. But, like, you know, like, is it worth it to go back now? And then, like, he will take screenshots of that, put it on his story, and just
roast them,
tear that person. And I was like, dude, you can't tear somebody for their own opinion like that. And so I just hit that unfollow button. I wasn't going to say shit. I think that's some of the times the best way to handle shit like that on social media is like, you don't want to see it, just unfollow it, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and didn't California? I'm pretty sure. I think Rogan was talking about it. That didn't they extend their stay-at-home order all the way until like August?
Yeah.
I think so.
No, because they shut down all their other gyms too. Like, I mean, the gyms that are opening up, they're being closed down immediately.
I want to say they have the most like strict stay-at-home orders out of anybody in the country.
Which I think that's probably where a lot of people take issue with it, where it's like, because I'm pretty sure the stay-at-home order has been lifted in a ton of places. Like, there's still obviously like the social distancing requirements and like the new, like the new regulations. But I'm pretty sure California is like extending that stay-at-home order until August seems like just kind of almost like an overreach to me. It's like that's such like that's 2 months from now.
Well,
it seems like it should be something that should be dealt with on a more like month-to-month type basis to me. But
wasn't Georgia like one of the first ones that kind of like opened everything back up?
Yeah, Georgia and Texas.
And then hasn't there been reports saying that they've been falsifying their numbers to a degree of like deaths of COVID and stuff like that? I don't know much about that, but I've heard that there are reports about that.
Like reporting less deaths or more?
Yeah, reporting less deaths and like less like related to COVID specifically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just hard to tell what numbers to trust because I think we talked about it last time.
Mm-hmm.
Or but there are deaths that are being attributed to the COVID that had nothing to, someone died
right
while being, from something else, and then they're getting attributed to COVID, and it's boosting some of the numbers. So it's just hard to know what numbers to trust in.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we get a second wave, after everything opens back up, and then all of a sudden we're like numbers spike back up, and we're like, oh, have to go back inside and stuff.
I see. We do. I mean, our numbers are still increasing. I mean, they knew that this thing wasn't gonna like stop by any means. They just wanted to prevent it from blowing up, so we had hospital space, and ventilators and like things that when people had a serious injury they had. And now that everything's opening back up, and I see it definitely spiking way up, and us end up shutting everything probably back down again, which will be interesting because I think there's going to be more pushback for sure. Because once things open back up, I don't think people are going to want to see things close back down again by any means. And so it'll be interesting to see the riots and stuff like that, because like, remember like when things started shutting down this first time, toilet paper, and there wasn't like any like massive raids by any means, but like what happens if this thing like spikes back up and then like their stores start to limit hours and stuff like that. I think that's where it's going to get interesting. And so that's why I do think that it's kind of dangerous to start opening everything back up. It's not like I've been going like stir crazy by any means, but like I understand like people's like not wanting to stay inside and being bored, but it's also just like looking at all the deaths and like this thing's like how just it's affecting. I don't know. Because I that's the most important thing for me is like once you overload the hospitals and like start freaking out, because like we're hearing reports of people getting it and then people being cured from it. We're not hearing really reports of what it's like to truly have it. And some people think, oh, it's just like the flu, but I'm also hearing like it's awful to have it. Like no matter if you live through it, like it is still awful to have it. So
it's just such a weird virus too, because it's just like some people will get it and will just cruise right through it, and some people will get it, and it honestly it all depends on how bad it affects your lungs, because that's where all the other underlying health conditions are coming from, is what it sounds like. Basically the virus gets into your alveoli, and then your cells kill the alveoli that have the virus, and then they continue to kill healthy alveoli, and that builds up inflammation and fluid in your lungs. So people are literally drowning because there's so much fluid in their lungs. And then if you get pneumonia, then it's almost a wrap. So it's just if you can if the virus can kind of be, it obviously just depends on your body and how well your body fights it off. But if you can stop it if your body can keep it from affecting your lungs too much, it sounds like it's not really all that's, it's very serious. It's not killing you in that case. So it's when it started getting into your lungs is when it's really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a couple of friends who live in other countries, and one of them in particular lives in Spain, and they kind of mention all the time, or you see it on their stories, is like, how's the U.S. opening back up as fast and as they are compared to all these other, like, especially like they were talking about Europe in specific, and they're like, Europe is nowhere near close enough to be opening the way the U.S. is. So it's like they're just kind of wondering, it's like, are we doing something just much different, or it just seems like the rest of the world is looking at us and be like, what are you doing?
Yeah. It's just weird too, because Europe and like even Europe and like South America, all those countries are all packed in together. And so like you start opening borders, you start opening up stuff in places where there's so much like border to border traffic.
Yeah,
like
that's
true. I feel like that's a recipe for disaster, in the sense, it's kind of like the same way the states are here, but it's still at least all contained to one country. There's not a ton of like Italy was really bad for a while, and if it weren't for closures, then that could have very easily spread to like Switzerland and Austria, other countries that are right there. So it's interesting, the world dynamic that's going into it.
Thanks.
I just find it interesting just going like state by state, like even within our state, how like our governor and mayor are at it, just trying to figure out, like, anyways, like it's
Pete Ricketts is
this has somewhat brought us together, like how some people are saying, but I also think it shows how far apart we are as a community as well, and how like just with the riots going on and everyone has their own opinions and stuff like that. It's just very interesting to me. And like, it's also going to be very interesting when things start opening back up, like all the regulations and how it's going to change life for good. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to randomly, I don't know, like just like from stores and stuff like that, like how people distance themselves and stuff. It's interesting.
I read this article on National Geographic that was written about Grand Island, because at one point Grand Island had the highest rate of COVID per capita. Like, it surpassed New York City. So it was basically the hotbed of the country.
I didn't know it surpassed New York. That's crazy.
It was ranked number one at one point because of like the huge Hispanic community and how it all revolved around the meatpacking plants. They all work there because they're essential workers that working at those plants, and because obviously none of their work they can do at home, obviously, right? And just even talking to like people back from GI, and this article kind of explains it. It's kind of built even more of, it just showed the apparent divide between the city and just that how much disparity there is. And like, even, and they talked about just like the state, like how it addressed it, and like how the meatpacking plants didn't have to report their COVID cases the same way anymore. So they were having to, like, it's like something like they don't have to report them anymore, or they all fall under the same umbrella, so nobody knows from where exactly they're coming from. You're just like, oh, yep, they're all coming from this what's it called? Like, it's just all under one umbrella. So like, oh, this is the case for the meatpacking plants, but each company won't be basically thrown out there to see how many from each place. So I thought that was interesting, because even like a city like in Nebraska, Grand Island got national attention because of how bad it was, and then there was still nothing that was really put in place to help those communities out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, super, just wild. It's a wild time, crazy.
Yeah, I think hopefully everybody can take something away from it, though. Like it should teach everybody a lesson. Even like governors, and I mean, they're probably in the toughest positions of their career. But I mean, I think it really goes to show when we put people like this in positions of power to see what exactly they do when shit goes south, And so I just hope everybody's being diligent and attentive towards what their favorite politician is doing, or favorite mayor, or whatever.
Yeah, and people a lot of times have views on politics where it's like, well, it's, my vote doesn't matter, and I'm one person, and it's like, no, but it just shows you that you're directly tied to everything.
Yep, you should always vote, for sure.
And a kind of unrelated note, did you guys, I mean, this was 2 weeks ago, I think now, the Ben Sass speech that he gave for the Fremont.
Yeah.
I didn't even listen to it. I saw all the comments about it, and I was like, I'm not going to waste my time listening to something stupid like that.
It's a waste of time, yeah. But it's like an astonishing waste of time. You're like, wow. Like, I don't know. People.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I listened to the whole thing, and it was just like the whole time. He was like, "What are you doing? Like, who are you like trying to talk to here?" It was just interesting.
Yeah, don't know what the message was.
Yep, I don't know. Just crazy.
There was something else I was gonna ask, but now I forgot.
Oh, for real? Are we ready for sports to come back? I don't think
something to watch.
Sports to come back.
Gonna happen.
Ahead, besides like the UFC, I really fuck with what the UFC is doing right now, because that's some real shit. Like I can't imagine like going from like fighting for like not really your life, but like that's what they think they're fighting for their life in front of like all those fucking people screaming you on, and then like going from that to like literally the quietest room probably ever, and just trying to beat the shit out of this guy and live.
Well, did you see that Greg Hardy? He won one of those fights, and he was saying that he won because like halfway through the fight, he heard Rogan and the commentators talking about how he needs to start checking the leg kicks.
Yeah.
So he started checking the dude's leg kicks. He ended up beating him because he could hear the comment. Yeah, he's like, yeah, it's just.
Oh, that's so fun. I did not hear about that at all.
Yeah.
It was on that first UFC card that came back, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was the same card when Gaethje beat the shit out of Tony Ferguson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tony Ferguson.
I really hope we go into like some type of like Mortal Kombat type shit. Like when they were talking about buying out that island, man, what they should do, buy out a fucking island, man, deck that shit out with the illest robots ever, man. And you just fly these people out there, just fucking leave them, bro. Robots take care of them. We're super clean facilities, and then they fucking fight. There's like camera drones everywhere. You're getting every fucking angle, and then Joe Rogan at home commentating, bro.
I thought you were talking about flying robots out there to fight people.
Yeah, I thought that's where you were going to.
No, having all the robots. So like, there's no people there besides just like the two fighters.
Well, Dana White said that Fat Island is going to happen. Like he already, but since they allowed him to do it here, like he's just going to put more time into putting that actually together. But that's going to happen.
If Scorpion comes out of hell, bro, I'm dipping. He says, "Get over here." No.
Because you said, yeah, and then we have robots out there to take care of all these people. It's like, you're trying to like send people to this island to die? I thought you like take care of. I thought you meant like.
No, so what I'm thinking is that they have.
I know what you mean now. But
okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, we're on the same page.
When you first said it, I was like, you want people to go there and just get killed by these robots?
No, yeah. It's a little better, but.
Yeah, with sports coming back, like most states or most areas are allowing pro sports to come back, right? So it'll be interesting to see how college sports and high school sports get treated, because pro sports, like it's their job, that's what they're doing. There's a lot of money involved, so they can it's easier to isolate them to kind of do their thing because they already have their facilities that are just dedicated towards them. But in a school setting, like at a college or at a high school, it's gonna be so. I think it's gonna be so much harder to justify it, especially like depending on what the academic calendar looks like and stuff like that. Because the NCAA loves to talk about how they're students first before they're athletes. So let's say if universities like have to close early, or for some like they can't have classes, is like how will they go about doing that,
Yep. Super tricky thing, but like every single one of those like big companies that's involved in sports is losing so much money every single day, and it's just like, how long are they financially able to keep that up?
Well, even like the amount of revenue that's brought in by football to the university. And people always shit on about the amount of money that the football team spends for the university, but they don't ever, or how much the university spends for the football team. People don't realize how much the football team pays for on the campus as far as like academics and facilities and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know. Bill Moose came out and said that, because it's looking like they're going to have a college football season. They're just not sure what conferences are going to be involved and how they're going to do the whole spectator thing. And to say you're playing these games without any fans, like that's millions and millions of dollars that schools are going to be losing out on that go towards helping just academically even. So. And
surrounding businesses too. I mean.
Oh yeah.
The
Haymarket all the tailgates and
popping on game days, dude. Like everybody's buying fucking everything.
Yep.
I think if it turns into a no spectator thing, I think it's going to be more like an HBO thing. I think you're going to have to buy some type of subscription to watch the game that's similar to a ticket. But even still, like, yeah, they're still losing a bunch of money. And just the community itself. I mean, that's why you live in Nebraska, right, for Husker football?
Husker football.
Only reason. No, Husker basketball, baby.
And with that whole money thing, like, I think what people also misunderstand is that athletics is they run independently. You know, like with the amount of money that they make, they pay for their own stuff. So when it seems like, oh, the university's spending all this money on them, it's like, well, that's their money. Like that's the money they brought in, and they're actually giving money to the university to build these other buildings, right? Like it's not like your tuition is going to pay for their building, and I
Right.
think that's what makes people sour at times.
Well, yeah, and I'm pretty sure like at Nebraska, other than like college football programs and college men's basketball programs, I think Nebraska's volleyball program and their women's basketball program are two of like less than 10 programs that are not men's basketball and football that bring in positive money every year too.
Yeah.
And so the only reason you're able to have these other sports is because of sports like football and basketball. So it's like kind of a tired argument, I guess. And when people are like, "Oh, well, sports are like should be the least of our worries right now." It's like, well, no, they're pretty important in terms of the economy. So
Right.
And I really feel for the fucking athletes that didn't get eligibility too, or lost it in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That shit sucks. Especially if it's like your last season, like that's what you're probably gonna remember forever, the rest of your life. It's like, yep, I had that one shot, but this fucking virus shit it away, man. And then I wasn't given another shot. So
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll see. Kind of the moral of the story of everything we talked about is like we'll get a few months and see where we're at in
Wait and see.
because a lot of the pro sports won't be coming back until July, right? Like at least for the NBA, their tournament looks like they won't start until the end of July, early August, and it's like, well, there's still 2 months. Who knows what happens in the next 2 months?
Right.
Right.
So,
If there's an outbreak, probably not.
yeah,
Like
zombies are next, probably.
man,
Probably. I'm down, dude.
Hit the fan, bro. I'm out.
where you going?
I have a plan, bro. I ain't telling nobody shit. I'm sorry, man. I respect the fuck out of all y'all. But like, if you want to know my plan, you ask me in person, bro. I'll tell you my plan. I'll tell you my plan, and then you can be a part of the plan. You know, that's how much I respect each and every one of you. But you got to.
We're gonna be a couple weeks. We're gonna be a couple weeks into this zombie apocalypse, and I'm just gonna be out in the country at this little farmhouse thinking he's safe, and I'm gonna roll up in a Cummins diesel truck with a mounted machine gun. I'm just gonna take all your shit.
You're gonna take all my shit. You're gonna come raid my house when we're supposed to band together as human beings to fight the opposing race of zombies.
You literally just said you weren't gonna tell us plans, so you made an enemy right there.
I said that you could talk to me in person. I'll tell you the plan, bro. I will tell you the plan, and I said you could be a part of the plan. I'm willing to take you under this wing, bro. You see that lat right there? That wing, bro. That lat right there. Go under it. It's fine. And that wing, and let me tell you, that wing, bulletproof, dog. Like you're not gonna die. Let's
test it. Let's test this swing out. Let me shoot you in the lap.
Right, dog. It's probably gonna miss.
I'm just telling you. There will never be a time on this earth where we are in a combat military apocalypse situation where I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna go listen to everything Isaac has to say.
No. It's not listening to what I have to say. It's just like you
just said you said I could be under your wing. Yes, you literally just said I could be under your wing.
Yeah, you could be under my wing in terms of protection and safety, bro. I'm not going to try to skew your opinions and your thought processes. That's you. That's your own. I'm just trying to make sure that homie Noah stays safe. Your mind is safe. Your body, physical being, your soul, everything's safe.
It's not. We're not homies anymore. I'm just telling you. Just be careful who you tell your plan to, because I'm going to get their information from them, and I'm going to come steal all their shit.
Okay, but the people that I'm telling, bro, ain't switching up for shit, especially when it pertains to something like this.
Yeah, but after I waterboard them, yeah.
You're gonna waterboard the people that I'm trying to protect.
All right, we're gonna leave it on that note. If you made it this far, thank you. Sorry for putting up with all the nonsense that we've said, but I think we had some pretty good,
it was good
stuff there. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, go ahead and hit us with a follow, leave a review.
That like, subscription.
Yep. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe.
And there's this fancy amazing looking bell that gives you 3 options when you press it, man. It says all, it says personalized, and it
All right.
says,
Well, thank you guys for listening to the podcast.
and you should tap that bell and then select all. And that way you'll keep up to date right when we post shit.
True. All right, but
you go ahead now.
that's all we have for you this week. Hopefully you guys tune in again next week. But unless you guys have something else.
Final reminder, keep your friends closer, your enemies closer. Be careful who you talk to about your apocalypse plans, because you never know what psychos out there lurking.
With machine guns on top of trucks.
Machine guns and CIA waterboarding tactics.
It's all right, not just trucks. Cummins, it's different.
Oh,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Later.